I lost my mouse. Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello? Are we live? Are we here? Are we ready? For plants? Are you excited? Are you hyped? Oh, thank you for the sub, Inky. Appreciate you. Where's my water? Everything's gonna get water, but I need water too. How are we doing? How's your Monday? Toma got first again. Congrats. Hi, Inky. Hi, Snowtwig. I still feel like this music's loud in my ears. It's good music. It's too loud. Let's find an appropriate level that we all can agree on. Is that good? I've collected all my plants for watering and repotting. I usually do that on the weekends. Maple, why are you barking? You're ruining my stream.
What?
I'm streaming.
Okay.
Maple's barking. You made her bark. I was doing my intro and now you're ruining it. I'll wait.
For what?
You to be done with whatever you're doing.
It's time to drink.
I was gonna do it later this week. Not today. Alright, bye. This is still too loud. How's that? That should be good. So I usually water my plants on the weekends, but I didn't get to it because I was outdoor gardening. And I wanted to do a plant stream because a lot of things do some growing over the winter, and this is a good time of year to like check over everything, see if anything needs repotted or trimmed up, cleaned up, and whatever. So that's what we're gonna do. What kind of plants you got? All kinds, all sorts. So I have collected everything that I have in here in the kitchen to water, except for, oh, and then there's that one too. I don't want to forget this one. I just bought this one. There's two plants I did not bring in here. One is a ficus tree that is taller than I am, so it's not going to get moved into here. It is similar to this one. This one's smaller than my other one. I don't even think it's like twice or half the size of my other one. I think the other one's even bigger. But we'll go through each one. I also have a burrowtail sedum, or not sedum, succulent that's way too big to bring in here. It's heavy. It is starting to flower. I might bring it in later. I have succulents. I have a philodendron. I have air plants. I have one air plant. Mostly what I have are orchids. I've kind of been transitioning into orchid collecting. I had a bigger collection at one point until Nerd's allergies got really bad when he started a new medicine. Whoops, broke one. So he went and got an allergy test, and the allergy test determined that he's allergic to nature. So my dreams of having an indoor jungle were dashed.
Oh my balls.
So I purged a bunch of stuff.
He wants to purge me.
And which sucked a lot. So I then started transitioning more into the orchids because they don't sit in such dense soil as other things do. They sit in like a loose bark, which maybe it's better for allergies. I don't know. That's my theory. But yeah, we'll go through everything. I'll talk a lot about what I have, when I got it, where I got it, and what condition it's in, and stuff like that. Not all of these plants I'm going to be doing things to, but we're just going to kind of go over the status of each one and kind of assess what it needs and go from there. Where to start? I like to start with my air plant. This is my air plant. Hi, kitty. There's no degenerates here. We're all good, happy plant people. And we're gonna water plants today and repot things. How are you? Plant degenerates, okay. You got me there. This is my air plant. This is a Tillandsia xerographica. Yeah. I thought you were done with the night shift. Or you're just working from home doing the night shift? I got this on Amazon for $20 when it's a lot smaller. Maybe half the size. Hi Draco, how's it going? I'm doing a plant stream. This is the largest variety of air plant that exists, I think. It looks like hair. You can put it on your head and pretend that it's hair. No, that's stupid. Oh gosh, there's a bug inside of it. That spooked me. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's a stink bug inside. Right there. Right there. You see it? Lodged in there? Oh yeah, I remember Nerd being allergic to nature itself. Yeah. So he's way tucked in there. I'm not going to worry about him. He's just going to stay in there until he decides to come out. But, so we're going to talk about the care of each plant. Because I know all of you care so much about how to care for plants. My eyes are watering more walking into the kitchen than just, no it's not. Well, Draco, anybody can be good at plants and I'll teach you how. I am going to turn down the music a little bit more. It's blasting me. I can't think straight. Is that okay? Can you guys still hear it? Okay. Air plants. Here's the biggest tip I can give you about houseplants. I want you to think of your house as a cave. Plants don't grow in caves. They can grow in the mouth of caves, and that is because that is where they can see the sky. So a plant wants to see as much of the sky as possible. Some plants are more sensitive to the sun's rays than others. So you'll need to consider that. That depends on the type of plant. Most things, if you stick it next to a window, it should do okay. And the watering, you never want to water on a schedule. You want to water when the plant needs water. And the plant will tell you when it needs water in different ways. Some plants don't really have good signs to know when it needs water. So you do kind of have to rely on a schedule, but there's not very many of them. Air plants is one of those I water on a schedule. My plants usually die because I forget about them. I even managed to kill cacti. But you can't forget about them. So an air plant I will stick in the window, any window, and every 2 weeks I'll soak it completely in water for at least 30 minutes to an hour. And that's it. That's all you need to do to care for air plants. Some cacti are hard to keep. Number one thing is that they need light. Now I'm gonna get a bucket and fill it with water and dunk this inside and just set it aside till I'm done with watering everything, and by that time it'll have drunken enough water. Now you don't want the water to be extra cold or extra hot. Just kind of like medium temperature water is fine. We'll see what that stink bug does. I have 2 plants that are still alive, Blues and Bob. Didn't know they needed soaking. Some people, I think, will mist them with water. The problem is they don't really get enough water that way. The surface of air plants are covered in tiny little microscopic trichomes, is what they're called. It's like pores, I guess, that they bring the water into. Most plants have roots that they suck up water into, but air plants are different. It's the surface area of the plant that brings in the water. That's why soaking it in water is good, because you get good coverage of the whole plant for it to drink in water just long enough that it gets enough and don't like drown it. Then you set it, you shake all the water out because you don't want it to get rotten inside with water sitting inside. Let it dry a little bit, like on a towel upside down, so it makes sure all that water is dried out, and then you can put it back in the window. Scientific to an extent. So I've just got this mostly full of water. It's not completely submerged because it will float, but just most of it. Everything that I've learned is from a YouTube channel and website called Houseplant Journal by Daryl Chang. I'll show you his book. I have his book too. He is an engineer by trade. So he takes that scientific approach to plants, which I find really helpful to kind of understand the biology of plants and what they need versus, you know, buying something in the store and the tag says indirect light, water every 5 days or whatever. Like, that doesn't really tell you a lot about what a plant needs. But I highly recommend The New Plant Parent by Daryl Chang, or his YouTube channel, Houseplant Journal, and his website. And that's where everything I learned is from him. And he really breaks it down in a way that makes sense to understand plants, different type of plants' needs. So the air plant is soaking. Next, we'll do the African violet. So African violet is kind of a common houseplant. Requires not a whole lot of light. Again, my suggestion, in a window, not too much sun. Like, if the sun shines directly through the window, couple hours tops. Well, not longer than that. But on a windowsill where it can see the sky. And this one, for these types of plants that are in a basic soil, I'll just stick my finger in there and I'll, is my finger wet or dry? If it's wet, I don't need to water it. This is already wet. If it's dry, then I'll water it. You can also tell by the heft of the plant. If the plant is really lightweight, then it's probably dry inside. If it's got a little bit of weight to it, then there's probably still wet dirt in there where the water is causing it to weigh more. And that's a good indicator too. Like, I can just pick this up and be like, oh, there's water in here. I don't need to water it right now. This plant I got when my grandma passed and my mom was going through the house getting rid of, you know, some of her stuff, giving things to relatives. This plant had like 4 itty bitty tiny leaves. Oh yeah, you have an African violet? Oh, you said something about, oh okay, African lily that kind of gets flat if I forget to water it, but perks up once I water it again. Yeah, that's a good indicator that your plant needs water, is you can watch the leaves, you know, wilt a little bit. Not wilt really, but like lower, and then perk up, but you know, that's another good obvious tip for that. Yeah, African violet. It's got the fuzzy leaves. This was my grandma's. She did not keep it in a windowsill. She kept it like kind of inside the house more, so it barely got any light. Had 4 tiny little leaves on it that looked like it was dying. And my mom gave it to me because she knows I can do plants. And she was amazed at how big it's gotten. Usually it has more flowers than this. And I had this kept in my office. I have grow lights in my office. So I have in my office at work, I have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plants. This was one of them in my office, but I noticed the leaves were kind of changing color, like they were turning yellowish. And you can kind of tell on the outside, those leaves were like the whole plant. So I knew something was wrong. So I decided to bring it home and let it be under my grow lights in my house to see how it would do any better. And it's done. I mean, you can tell the new growth in the middle, those dark green leaves. It's a lot happier now that it's here and not in my office. So I was just gonna trim these other leaves off so it just looks nicer. But I can tell it doesn't need water, so I'm not gonna water it. We're just gonna clean it up a little. And I have repotted it recently, I think. So I don't think it needs... I can tell that this plant doesn't need any more space because like the most part of the plant, it's still got a lot of space left around it to grow into. So if this ever gets bigger than this, I don't know how big, Draco, that your African violet is, but I think this is probably a good size pot that it won't ever need a bigger one, I think. Lots of grow lights. Your state just got legal weed. I see what you're doing. I have a desk in my bedroom that has like those cube shelves, and I've got grow lights tucked in, a couple of those with my smaller plants in them. And it's fun to keep those there. But no, I don't think I'll ever get into that trade. So this one's good. I'm gonna put this aside. Next. Probably one of my favorite plants. Maybe it's like top 5 is my domino cactus. I just think it is the cutest thing ever. I got this when it was about that big around for $1 at the hardware store. Something else I do that I highly recommend if you're gonna start collecting plants is when you get a plant, take a picture of it so you have a record of what it looks like when you got it versus a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, a year later. So you can track the progress of how it's growing, if it looks any better or worse. My sister and my mom and my niece and I went to an orchid show recently, and my sister is starting to get into houseplants like I am, and she got an orchid. We'll get to the orchids later. And she was like texting me pictures of it, like, does this look okay? Why isn't it blooming? Why is it taking so long? And we noticed, like, she had taken a picture of it when she first got it, and we compared it, and I'm like, well, the flower stem is taller, but the leaves look a little wiltier compared to when you first got it. So maybe adjust this or that to get those leaves perkier. So that's been really helpful to like keep a photo journal of your plants. I can pull mine up and try and display the pictures of what some of these things looked like when I first got them, or at least tell you when how long I've had some of these, because like there's a date on the pictures. I just make a folder for every plant and just dump pictures in them. So I've had this one since 2021, so for about 3 years. Gosh, and it makes beautiful flowers in the summer. When it blooms, it'll start making these little fuzzy nubs and grow. I'll show you. Let me try to show you. Oh, there we go. So that's, hi doubles, fuzzy nubs.
It's high noon.
So that's what it first looked like when I got it. And it was like, you know, from pot to plant, it was like that tall. And now it looks like this. And let me show you, the flowers are amazing. Those are what the flowers look like. Just these fuzzy nubs shooting off, these little white specks. And the smell that they have is like perfume, just powerful smell comes off those flowers. But they only last during the night, one night, and then they die. Sometimes I've missed them before, like blooming, because they'll bloom in the evening, be awesome all night long, and then I wake up in the morning, they're kind of still there, and then by the time I get home from work, they're dead. So that's my domino cactus. For this, I would water it maybe once every 3 to 6 months. It's a cactus, it doesn't need a lot of water. And it's not gonna tell me when it needs water, because I don't know what signs to look for when it wants water. So this one I will kind of, like when I remember to, I'll water it. And how I'll water it is I will just put it in a bowl of water, like to where it's almost halfway up the pot. And I'll let it sit there for a couple hours, soaking up that water from the bottom. That's called bottom watering. And then that's it. And then I'll do it again another 6 months or 3 months from then. It's crispy, it needs water. I mean, kind of. That's the only, no, I almost lied. I was gonna say that was the only cactus I have. I got another one recently for my Bulbasaur. So it's a similar type of cactus, but I don't know what it's called. But I thought it was super cute for this planter. And I picked this up at just the grocery store recently for a few dollars. And hopefully it grows as nicely as my domino one. I don't know if it needs water. I think I'm gonna skip watering it. Oh, I'm getting a raid! Hi, Aptaria and Raiders. Hi, Jim. No, I don't want to be here twice. Haha. Hi, guys. How was your stream? Look at my Bulbasaur. Welcome, Raiders. Snowtwig, you're on the wrong tab again. Welcome, welcome, everyone. How's your Monday? I can fix that Goblin Tuesday. How's your stream? Thank you, Snowtwig. Bulbasaur is my favorite because it's a plant Pokemon. So I've just been doing some plant stuff. I'm not playing a video game or art or none of that stuff. Just my own stupid hobbies. It's good, make some progress with the kids book, fleshing out some characters. Nice. What's the kids book about? I'm gonna move on to the next plant. We'll keep doing the succulents, I think. Larry the llama learns to fly. How does a llama fly? I guess I need to read it to find out. That's exciting. Do you just get started on it? Fleshing out some characters. Sounds like maybe you're just getting started on it. That's cool. This is a Christmas Carol aloe. Isn't it cute? It doesn't get very big. I had a bigger one, but I kept dropping it on the floor. I had it on my bedroom windowsill, and every time I would pull the curtains, like close or open, sometimes I would knock it onto the floor, and I broke some of it. Flies with the flying same as humans. I have a lot of the pages sketched out, but the characters weren't fully locked in. Oh, okay. Exciting. So my main plant had started making pups, like little mini versions, like growing out new babies. So I divided it up and I gave some of them to my sister, and I kept this one that I liked. But it's a variety of aloe. It's got like pink edges on it and ridges, and it's cute. How I can tell when this one wants water is the leaves will start to curl inward, and I'll just gently squish it, and if it has any give, then I know that the leaves are like not as full up as water as it should be. And I'll do a bottom watering soaking method with these because it's just easier. But I think this one is okay and doesn't need anything. So I'll set it aside. And I'll show you my other aloe, my main normal aloe. That one I got at Kroger for like $1. This is my real aloe. Let me hide the window capture. Don't need that right now. This is my actual aloe plant. It's gotten quite big. Actually, let me pull up the picture of what it used to look like. I went to a plant swap event and got this from the plant swap. Let's see if I have I have a picture of it. So there's 2 plants in this little pot that I got at the plant swap. The one on the right is this aloe plant. When was this picture taken? Can't tell. 2020, September 2020. So I've had this for 4 years and it's got this big. And it was free because I got it at a swap meet. Again, I'll look it over and see are the leaves not as full, like are they kind of squishy? And if they're kind of squishy, I know it's time to water it. This one seems okay. I don't think it needs water. This one doesn't need water very often. Some of the leaves, I guess are leaves, I don't know. They'll start to cave in and like get really skinny. They're just the oldest leaves. The oldest leaves will die. So don't panic if some of the leaves on your plants don't look great. Just determine, are they the oldest leaves on your plant? If that's the case, and the rest of the plant looks healthy, then that just means the oldest leaves are dying, and that's normal. So that's a good way to like troubleshoot your plant if it doesn't look quite right. The oldest leaves will die. And you just snip them off at that point, like I did to the African violet. But the rest of this looks fine, and I'm not gonna water it right now. I will put it over here aside. Okay, what happens if the rest of the plant is kind of yellowy? So let me grab my African violet. So that's kind of what was happening to my African violet. Are you talking about your African violet? That's kind of what I went through with this one. The whole thing was turning like a yellowish, not looking good. So I changed its conditions. I'm not exactly sure what was happening. I think it wasn't getting enough light under the grow light that I had in my office. So I put it under a different grow light that's lower, so it's getting more light. And that seemed to have done the trick. If it's not is it your African violet that's doing that? It was also getting pink on the edges, which was weird. I've never seen that before. But I guess African violets can get pink on the edges. I don't know if you can tell that as well. How about the aloe? Is that your other plant? Is it turning yellow? Where do you have them in your house? Are they on a windowsill? How many hours of sun do they get? The aloe doesn't like too much sun. You would think that it's like a succulent and loves sun, right? Next to windows. Is it like a south-facing window where it gets many hours of direct, like shining in sunlight? Or does it get a couple hours of sun? For those two plants, a couple hours of sun is okay. Several hours of direct sunlight, they won't like that. I have my aloe in an east-facing window. That might be too much. I have mine in an east-facing window. It only gets a couple hours of sun in the morning. So you might think about moving it to where it's not getting as much direct sun. Like an east or west facing window. East probably preferable. It doesn't matter, east or west facing window. You know, like several hours of direct sunlight. Doubles has 0 houseplants. I have this many since 2019. I never thought there would be too much sun in England. That's without knowing your exact situation, that's what I can tell you to try, anyway. If they aren't looking right, try that. Moving on. This is my... I had to think, what is this? This is a Hawthornia cooperi. Which is pretty cool. I got this at a garden center, one of my first succulents. I think I need to learn your watering techniques. Both the aloe and the African violet, I bottom water because it's just too hard to get good coverage of water around their leaves. You can really guarantee a good coverage of water with bottom watering. You want the whole plant to be completely soaked when you water. You don't want to just do a dabble here, a dabble there. You want even coverage of water when it needs water. And give it a good squish. This is firm. I'm not going to water it. Yeah. Try that. I think you'll see better results. I think my problem was that I overwatered them. So you want to think about a plant's needs. They need water, they need light, and they need soil. And the order of things that is most important is light. So you want to make sure they have good lighting. That's number one. Number two is water. Only water when they need water, and give them a good soaking of water when they need water. Third is soil. I don't know what kind of soil you have. My aloe, I have in just a standard cactus soil. I bought a bag recently, and let me show you. Sorry if the music skipped there. I walked outside. This is what I get for all my succulents, my aloes, anything that needs a fast draining soil. I just get a standard cactus potting mix. No brand, no sponsorships. The African violet, you can buy specific African violet soil. I don't know if that's necessary. I guess it's a more spongy material. But yeah, you can buy African violet soil for those. Let me show you a picture of my Hawthoria. One of my first succulents I bought. Hawthoria cooperi. I bought in 2019. I originally had it in my Bulbasaur, but obviously it got too big. So it was tiny. And you can tell it used to be just one, plant. Then it kept making babies, and I kept cutting them off because I only wanted one cute little plant. But then I gave up because it just kept growing more and more babies. I've given some away, taken some to swap events. It is starting to flower, I just noticed. I don't know if you can see. This little thing sticking out here, that is a flower stem that started. It flowers once a year, this time of year. Let's see if we can find what it looks like when it flowers. Nope. That's kind of as it's growing. No. I don't have a picture of its flower. Kind of starting there. It will grow these little white flowers off of these long stems. Yeah. Very cool plant. Again, I'll just squeeze a few of the leaves to determine if it's thirsty. And it is. A lot of these are squishy. They have give to them. So I'm gonna bottom water it. So there's no way I'm gonna get a watering, spigot in here anywhere. It's so packed that watering up from the holes, that's a good point about pots. I love plastic pots. Plastic is really easy to use, if I need to repot something, I can squeeze plastic to like loosen up the roots and pull it out and repot it. I can drill holes in it. If it doesn't already have holes, I can take a pretty pot like this and put the plastic inside for easy watering. A clay pot like this, if you put soil directly in here, it will kind of absorb some of that water, and you don't really want that. Planing directly into clay, it's not a good idea. You want to keep these like little cache pots to just sit directly in there. And that's a lot easier to work with. But I'm gonna get, oh, it's got another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've only had 2 at a time on these that I remember. That's kind of wild. This will be interesting. It's gonna just have these spikes flying out everywhere. If I just get one of my kitchen bowls, I'm not particular. I don't care if I get dirt in these. And just fill it with water. Thank you for the song. I think that's what that was. Bling, bling. And my faucet sucks. So, I just have this filled with water. I'm gonna set it aside, and the water level will lower as it soaks up that water. We'll check on that later. Thank you for this. What are you doing? Oh no! Why would you do that? I should not have sent that to you. I should not have. I thought you wanted to be mod, huh? Okay, this is another succulent. I think it's called Ikea Vera. My mom should have known this would be the outcome. Yeah. My mom got me a high basement troll.
Continue.
For my birthday one year, my mom got me a bowl of little baby succulents about that big. And of all of those succulents, I think I only still have one, and it is this big. Hi, Shrimpy, how are you? Let me find a picture. I'm showing off my plants to everyone that cares about plants. Where is it? This? Oh, I don't have its baby picture.
Truck, jeans, beer, girl, creek, boots, truck, tan legs, train, dog, beer, Dixie cup. Got a beer in my beer and a Chevy.
You need to get some houseplants. Everyone does.
Cut off jeans, truck. Dirt road, bike road, beer, moonlight, red, white, and blue, girl, Friday night. I got my boots in the dirt, got the dirt from a dirt road beneath my truck. Got the truck from my girl, she's got that dirt. I got the dirt from the truck.
This doesn't even need water. Flat snake plant, classic. I love snake plants. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 8. And I'll show you some of them. Ooh, that reminds me, I didn't grab those. Why are you laying there, you little freak? I hate this so much. Here's some of them. We'll get to them. Thank you, doubles. So much. Okay. This is my IQ Vera. It used to be 1 and now it's 2. I don't know why. But it makes cute yellow flowers. I don't know if it's flowering right now. It doesn't look like it. Squeezing the leaves, they're pretty firm. I'm not gonna water it. But yeah, that is that one. One of my first ones. Now, come here. This is my other one. We always had jade plants and spider plants. Now I hardly ever see them. I had both of those at one point. They were part of the purge. They were part of the Great Purge when nerds developed allergies, unfortunately. All right, Kalanchoe flapjack. I'm a fan of Christmas cactus too. My dad has a really nice one, and it blooms all year long. This Kalanchoe I got at Kroger for like $1. Not this exact one. I don't know why I'm showing you a picture. It like looks the same. Kalanchoe flapjack. This was the original one that I bought at Kroger. And these get so big, like big, that they can't fit in any of my windowsills. And they start making babies. And what I do is I just cut off the baby and either pitch the other one or give it away, and I just start over from the baby. This is probably my third or fourth one that I've done that to. I like them small. I don't like them getting too big. They get too much to handle. I just kind of squeeze the leaves. If they have some give, I'll water it. Christmas carol or Christmas cactus? I don't really have room for that. I have short windows. Have you ever thought of getting a bonsai? Bonsai is intimidating. They get like so old. I don't know what their needs are. I don't know a lot about them. It's not something I can just pick up at the grocery store like some of these things. They just seem so probably delicate and particular in what their needs are. It's not something I'm too interested in. They're really cool, but keeping one, I don't think is for me. I'm gonna take this out. Oh, you're in the way now. I'm much more into the orchids. If I get new plants to add to my collection, likely they're going to be orchids. That's kind of the direction I'm leaning in these days. Everything else I've had for years, and I enjoy them, so. This, I don't know what this is. A couple years ago I had surgery, and my coworkers got me a get well gift of a bowl of succulents. I already have a ton of succulents. I didn't need a whole new bowl of them. I offered it to my mom and she has it, but I kept this one out of it. It was very small, but it keeps stacking. It's growing stacks and stacks in kind of this twirly pattern, which is cool. But I like that it looked like a green flower. And that's why I kept this one. I don't know how tall it's gonna get. It's interesting to see how it will go. It doesn't need water right now. I got stacks. Next succulent. A couple of different ones. It looks really rough. So I got this at the grocery store because it looked nice. It's white, which is different. It's unique looking. It's fuzzy. And I don't know what it is. I also have these This is a Kalincho bear claw. That's also kind of fuzzy, so I'm like, oh, I'll put them together. I think I also got this off of that succulent bowl that I gave to my mom. I just kept a couple of leaves, I think, and started new plants off of them. If you ever want to propagate a succulent with like all these multiple leaves, and propagating means to start a new plant from it, you can just pick off some of these leaves, put them in dirt. Best would be a shallow dish of sandy soil. Put your leaves on it, make sure it stays damp, and you'll see it start to sprout roots and start to sprout leaves from those leaves. And you can tell alright, at this point I think I'll show you my donkey tail, because it's starting a new donkey tail in the middle there from one leaf. I can't get the camera to focus. I don't know. You can't really tell. But it's starting a new... I didn't put that donkey tail in there. One of the leaves just fell off and it started growing in there. I didn't like purposefully do that. But yeah, it's a cool plant. It just looks rough because it just gets too long and gangly, and I did start some of it over. I'm just gonna cut that off. Like this, it's starting to die, and I'm doing my best, like, to try and keep it going from its remains, because it is cool. It's not the best looking thing. Does it need water? No, it's fine. All right, let me show you one of my coolest plants. It is also very heavy. And kind of difficult to manage. Let me first show you what it looked like when I first got it. My donkey tail. No spoilers. This I got for like $1 at Kroger. These 3 little strands. When did I... This was also something I got in 2020, I think, or 2019 when I first started the hobby. This is it now. This is the same plant. I have the fan on. Oh. You see how long it is? It's really cool. It's heavy. And I didn't purposely plant any of these. These little leaves are so delicate, they will fall off so easy. They'll just fall off into the dirt and start a new plant from that. And that's how it's gotten this prolific. And it is starting to flower. If you can tell, it'll start to flower at the tips. It'll make these little pink flowers. See if I can find a picture. Here's a picture. That's what the flowers look like at the very tips. Just pretty cool. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of them. And from these ropes, it'll even, like you can tell, it'll branch off into even more ropes. Pretty crazy. I love it. It's really cool. I just hope I can keep it going still. Because I don't even know how on earth I would repot this. I'm sure that it's outgrown this pot, but I don't, like, if I were to try to repot it, it would all fall apart because it's so delicate. Just me putting it back, it started dropping some leaves on the floor. Do I have any succulents left? No. snake plants next. We'll do this one. Get stuff out of the way. One of my very unique, rarer plants is a pitcher plant. There's no pictures on it right now, unfortunately. I got this on Etsy, and one of the very few plants that I've bought online. Let me show you what it looks like. Pitcher plant. So when it has pictures on it, it looks like this. These red pictures. Yeah, well, flies will and gnats will get into those pictures. They grow from the very tip, so you can see some of the babies are starting to form. It doesn't really have those pictures during the winter. They really start to kick off in spring and summer. And I bought this original plant on Etsy. It has started to grow more babies from the bottom, which is nice because it's looking really scraggly. As the leaves die, I trim them off, and it's leaving like this dead looking husk of a plant. But having these new fresh babies makes the plant look a lot better and brings new life to it. I know when it's time to water it when the leaves start looking wrinkly, and it's definitely looking wrinkly. But for this one, I'll just put it in the sink and like just rinse it, get it all wet, and then just put it back. But yeah, it's getting a good number of little baby pitchers started, I think. So those should be happening soon. This leaf looks dead. I am going to trim that off. I don't like dead leaves. It doesn't hurt to leave them there. I just don't like looking at them. It's always the oldest leaves, too. I've never seen a pitcher plant that has the hanging pitchers before. I've only seen the ground virgin. I've seen at a couple plant stores really huge varieties of this, and the really cool ones are like yellow with the red speckles. I wish I had that variety because it looks really cool. But yeah, this is the only carnivorous plant that I have. And I will just rinse it with water. Make sure it's all wet. And let that water drain out the bottom. I'll just sit it in the sink here, let that drain out. Once it's done draining that water out, I'll just put it back in the pot and on the windowsill. All right, next. One of the, I think, prettiest plants is my Philodendron Brazil. So this is my only long trailing hanging plant. And it's my favorite because the leaves just look like little paintings. Every single one of them is unique looking. Like some of these get really, really pretty. They're really easy to propagate. This is actually my second version of this plant. I did keep it in the kitchen here, in that corner, but it started looking pretty poorly and wasn't getting a whole lot of light. So what I did was, you can take a strand. So a strand on a hanging plant like this, every leaf is a node where it connects to the main stem, and you can start new roots from these nodes. You can just like trim this off to where you have a good node. Take off the leaf because you don't need the leaf. I would leave one leaf on top, but have this node without a leaf sitting in a vase of water on a windowsill. And within a week, you'll probably start seeing roots start to grow off that node. And once they get at least an inch long, you can put that in dirt and have a plant, like start a new plant that way. And that's how I got this started, from my kitchen one. I threw that one out and just started a new plant from cuttings that I had made. And now I keep this in the sunroom in an east-facing window. Not a ton of light. This one doesn't want it to be burned by the sun. And it can tolerate pretty low levels of light. So this is a good beginner-friendly plant. I will water it when I start to see the leaves kind of like wilt down, like Draco was saying. And then they perk back up once they get water. I'll also, feel it for weight. If it's really lightweight, I know that it's probably dry. I'll stick my finger in it just in case. If it feels dry, then I'll water it. If it feels wet, I won't water it. I will go ahead and water this one. I actually have this in a pot. Like I have 2 pots. Because I wanted the hanger, but the hanging pot was a bit too big. You want your plants to be snug in their pot. You don't want them to have too much soil to plant ratio, because too much soil will stay wet too long. The plant won't be able to take in as much water as fast as it needs to, and that's when you get in trouble of root rot, if the roots stay soaked for too long. So you want to make sure your plants don't have too much room in there. You want their roots to be snug. So I'm just gonna take this off and drench it. Until I know that it's all got wet. And then let that drain out. Take my pitcher plant out. This one's good to go. I think I will cut off a couple more of these yellow leaves because they just look miserable. I'll eventually cut probably this old plant once I get tired of looking at this dead stem, really. Because the babies that it's made, they're big enough to survive on their own. I think there's like 3 different ones in here, 3 or 4. So I'll keep it around for a little while. If it doesn't make any pictures off this old plant, I'll probably at that point just call it a loss and cut the old one off. Lots of sun for this one. Lots and lots of sun. It is a jungle plant. So it likes a lot of sun. All right. Let's tackle the ficus. This is my smaller of my 2 ficuses, also known as a rubber tree. This one is a ficus ruby, I think, because it's kind of got like these reddish leaves. This one has a fun story. So, of how I acquired it. Back in the day, when Nerd had really bad Crohn's disease health problems, and he was going to the hospital a lot. And I was really new in the plant hobby, and I was always like eyeballing the different plants that the hospital had in the building. And there was this one particular plant that I thought looked really cool. And one day I took my pocket knife and like snuck a little snip off of it and put it in my pocket and took it home. Here, I'll show you what it looked like. Don't tell anyone. Where is it? Okay. So this is the cutting that I took in secret from the hospital plant. Let me see, what date was that? April 2020. This is that plant today. And let me tell you, this plant looks a whole lot better than the hospital one. Like you can tell off this picture how tiny those leaves are. And it was more like a short bush. And this one that I've grown off of it is a proper looking tree that it's supposed to be. And this will just keep growing and growing until I don't know how tall it will get, because the other one I have, I got in a Facebook trade. Let me see. Let me measure it to myself. It's probably, let's see, I'm 5 foot tall. This is probably 7 feet tall. It's touching the ceiling. Let me just tell you that. It is a proper tree. I don't know what's going to happen to it when it gets too big. And this one wants to be more like wet than your typical plants. If the top 2 inches are dry, you can go ahead and water it. And the weight of it's really light, so I'm gonna go ahead and water it. I need to get this philodendron out of the way. So I'm very curious how... Oh, hi, Maple. Come here, Maple. Am I ignoring you? I'm sorry. Everyone's ignoring you? Do you want to be watered? I don't know how long these ficuses are gonna, like how big they're gonna get before they start to suffer. What are you sniffing? What smells good? Go find your sheep and kill it. So I'm just gonna stick this in the sink and spray it all over till I feel like it's properly soaked through. Again, you want all the roots to get properly wet. Don't be shy with your watering. Give them a good dousing of water. You want every square inch to get soaked. And then I'll just let that sit in the sink and drain out the bottom till it's done. And then I'll put it back. All right. Shrimpy, I don't know if you're still there, but we're doing snake plants next. Snake plants are some of the easiest plants you can take care of. They can do well in any conditions as long as there's at least a little bit of light. They can have a little bit of light, they can also have a ton of light. And the difference is like surviving versus thriving. They can survive a little bit of light. You might not see a ton of growth, but they'll limp along and be okay. If you give them a lot of light, you will see a lot of growth and they'll thrive. It just depends on what you're willing to give it, what you have available. But generally, a snake plant, you really can't go wrong. And they're really forgiving about watering. If you forget to water them for months, they'll be okay. If you water them too much, you do run the risk of root rot. It's better to forget to water them than to water them too much. If you're not sure if you should water something, it's safer to wait a few days, come back to it later. than to water it if you're not sure it needs it or not. This is one of my snake plants. It's probably different looking than your average snake plant you would expect. It is called a starfish snake plant, and it grows these like long stalks in a fun, like, spread out pattern, which is pretty cool. I got this one in a Facebook trade. I used to belong to like a houseplant Facebook swapping group, and people would like post plants they have available or plants they're looking for and make trades, and that's how I got this one. Also my giant ficus that I was talking about. And for snake plants, when I determine when it wants water, generally I'll take a look at the soil. If the soil has pulled away from the sides of the plant, it's like shriveled up, dried up to where it's pulled away from the sides. You can visually see that there's space between the soil and the pot. That's when I water a snake plant. That's when I know it's properly good, dried out, and it can be watered safely without worrying about root rot. This one, I think I kind of watered recently. It's not quite where I would water it at this point. I would like to take a look at its root system to see if it needs repotted, because it is getting kind of big for this. We can take a look. This is my dirt box that I use to try and keep dirt contained. And I'm just gonna move this camera down a little. And we'll take a look. So we have some roots gathering at the bottom, but the soil to root ratio, I'm not seeing a ton of roots yet. I'm not too concerned about this one staying in the pot right now. If there's a lot more roots, I would repot it. I'd put it in a bigger pot. But this one still has some space to grow. And again, you want them to stay snug in their pot. So this one can stay in here a little longer. I think the ficus is probably done draining. So I can get that one out of the way. These don't want a ton of light. I would compare it to the aloe, where a couple hours of sun is good, but they can get burned if they have too much sun. Their leaves are just going to be too sensitive to too much light. You can see an example on this one. This one. You can kind of see a burn spot there where it got too much sun at one point. So you got to be careful of that with these guys. Next, another one of my favorites is a type of snake plant called a whale fin. No, that's too high. This is a whale fin snake plant. I have several of them because they keep growing. They keep growing babies. Every year they'll grow a new baby. It's got this really cool pattern. The more light you give them, the more pattern they'll get. Whales are not snakes. Listen, if you get 2 of them together, they can look like a whale's fin. And that's why they're called that. This camera's still too high. And I think they're the largest variety of snake plant. False advertising. How's your day? Did you get your bike fixed? Do you have it back? Is it working? Did you buy a new one? My first whale fin I bought on Etsy. Cool. One of my other few, I think I've only bought 2 plants online. My pitcher plant and my whale fin. Really? That's fun. Didn't buy a new one yet. So you're gonna go mountain biking on your mountain bike? You gonna climb a mountain on your bike? My first whale fin was $45. Probably one of the most expensive plants I bought, I think. And it has grown. I still have it. It's in my office. No mountains here. And I have it. I have it with its first baby that it ever grew. So it's got like that whale fin aesthetic going on, which is pretty cool. And it's really tall too. It's like this tall. It did grow a 3rd baby, and I cut that off. And I think I sold that one on Facebook. I think I've sold 2 or 3 of these on Facebook because they grow a new one every year. And I tell them I don't need. It's starting to get dark and stormy out. My lighting's not super great anymore. And there's nothing I can do about that. I can't make more light. So I do like to sell the babies on Facebook. I sell them for anywhere from $25 to $35 a piece. Because I just don't need that many. And the best way to get rid of them is to sell them, because suckers out there will pay the money for them. So I think I've sold 2. I have 2 in my office. I have this one. I've given my sister one. And then I kept this one just because like it's long and skinny and kind of interesting like that. And the one that it grew is also long and skinny. So they kind of look funny to me. And we're gonna take a look in here and see if they're growing any babies or if they need repotted. They grow in long, fat tubers, and like they'll grow in long, fat tubers and then straight up grow a new plant from the tuber. Where's my dirt box? There it is. So we're gonna take a look at this one. And it's pretty dry. I've been waiting to water it. I don't see any plants starting off of this one. It would be pretty obvious. I've had one in a plastic pot where it was like pushing out the side and like causing the pot to like go from a circle to an oval shape. I'm like, what is going on? And it turns out it was like trying to push out this giant tuber. So let me show you what I mean. Where is it? I wish I grew plants. The only thing I do grow is apple trees. Oh, that's cool. Do you have a lot of different varieties of apple trees? Oh, here it is. So this was the original one I bought on Etsy. And that is what its first baby looked like, the one on the left. Those are now in my office. And this is what it looked like when it grew its third baby. You see that tuber on the bottom poking out the pot? I cut a hole in the pot so that it had room to stick out and grow up a third plant. And that's how it makes new plants, which is pretty cool. There's a close-up. So that purple is starting a new plant up from that, with that ridiculous hole that I cut out. Now just one, just melee apple. Cool. And then that's what it looked like with its new baby. And I had cut that off. And I guess that's this one. Yeah, that's this one. It might be starting a new baby, I'm not sure, but this one definitely is not. It doesn't need repotted, but it does need watered. So I'll give it a good soaking. My neighbor has a cherry tree that partially comes over the fence onto our side of the yard, and the cherries are delicious. I love just picking them right off the branch and eating them out in the yard. And I'm patiently waiting for it to grow cherries this year. It did not grow cherries last year, which is a real bummer. I think we had like a cold snap that killed the flowers or something. Now we're gonna check this one. And it kind of looks the same as the other one. I'm not seeing any signs of a baby starting. It might be too earlier in the year, I'm not sure. But it does need water too. Put you here for now. So that was the whale fins. Next I have moonshine snake plant. So this one's different because it's got a lighter shade of leaves, and I just think it's a really pretty color. It's a shame that it's got dark and gloomy outside, that my lighting is not good anymore. But I really love this plant. I had one that I think I got rid of during the Great Purge for Nerds Allergies, but I really wanted one again, so I saw it in the store a couple weeks ago and I grabbed it. Oh, those are orchid Chinese back there. I don't know about Chinese, but there's definitely orchids back there. We'll get to those. I don't like the way this one was potted. Oh, it's in 2 pots. Oh, that's fun. It looks like the pot's too big. I was gonna repot it. Maybe I'll just keep it in there. It's pretty snug in there. It's probably fine. I don't feel like dealing with it right now. But I do think it needs watered. I'll water it for now and think about repotting it another time. It's probably fine. I will point this camera up a little bit so you can take a look at the orchids. Oh, this was in 2 pots. I need to take it out of this one. Yeah, I do not like the way they pot this. Another tip for potting plants is you don't want the dirt to go all the way up to the top of the pot, because when you water it, all that dirt's just gonna spill out and make a mess, which is what is happening right now with this store potted plant. It's just making a gosh darn mess in my sink, which is another reason why I should have repotted it. I'll do it another time. It's made a huge mess. You want to have like maybe an inch away from the top of the pot as space for the water to, you know, do its thing and get in the soil. What have we got next? I think the orchids are next. Yeah, this camera's too high again. All right, orchids. Woo, yeah. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 Phalaenopsis. Phalaenopsis, also called a moth orchid, are your general, like, grocery store variety orchids that you see all the time in your normal stores. And I have 4 of those. This is my first one. This was also technically my first plant that I kept when I first started the plant hobby, actually trying to figure out what I'm doing. It is also my Twitch brand. You can see this is the flower that is on everything, all my branding that I do. I think I got it in, I would have got it in 2018 because this was my, oh, you're scared of the storm or you're scared of the rain. It's raining outside and she's scared. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I'll hold on to you. You're just shaking. Poor thing. We'll try and do this one-handed and you in my other hand. How's that? You're whimpering. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. She's so scared when it rains or when it's windy or when it storms. I'm sorry, baby. Those orchids I own hardly last a year. So yeah, I would have got this in 2018. This was passed on to me. My grandma died in 2018. She had a couple months before she died, it was Mother's Day, and she got 2 orchids for Mother's Day. She died a couple months later, and my dad rescued those orchids from my grandpa because he had repotted them in these huge pots, and where they didn't need to be in huge pots, because like I said, plants like to be snug, so they don't hold on to too much water. And he was doing the ice cube method. Have you guys heard of the ice cube method for watering orchids? The belief is that if you just put 3 or 4 ice cubes on an orchid, that they will slowly release the water as they melt. And that's how orchids like to be watered. 1, orchids don't like cold water. No plant likes cold water. Cold water causes the roots to constrict, close up, and they don't take in any water or as much water because they constrict. And I learned that I took a botany class in college. It was my first class as a freshman, and I loved that class. And my professor worked in a flower shop, and she got scolded for putting the flower cuttings in cold water by the current staff, because it will cause the cut flowers to die because the stems will constrict and not take in water. That's why it's really important to do room temperature, medium temperature water as much as possible for your plants. You're shaking just like a leaf. So yeah, the ice cube method, if you hear about that for orchids, it's really dumb. The second part of that method is they're not getting nearly enough water from just a couple of ice cubes. As you can tell, I'm soaking everything. Every time I water, I give a good soaking, good coverage of water so that every part of the root system gets water. That's really the best method to go. I'm so sorry. The pupper is afraid of Mother Nature. She's so scared. So, and for orchids, my watering schedule, I will take a look at them once a week on the weekends. Really, every weekend is when I do my plant care. I didn't do this past weekend because I was too busy. That's why I'm doing it now. But what I'll do with an orchid is I will do my best to stick my finger in there. It's kind of difficult because they use a bark type of soil medium. If it feels damp, I won't water it. If it feels mostly dry, I'll water it. I had a really bad problem in the beginning. This was kind of like my learning plant. I had this in a window that did not get enough light. It was in a north-facing window. And I watered it too much, and it was suffering. The plant was like leaning over, leaves were dying, and I learned, that was like my first learning opportunity with root rot. This plant got root rot really bad. But it is coming back. Over the years, it's coming back. It's got a good number of flowers on it. It has more buds starting. And new leaves grow on it, and new roots grow on it. So it is definitely doing well. Now that I've given it more light, I keep it in either a west or east facing window to get a couple hours of direct sunshine. I put it in a windowsill where it sees the sky, so it gets good light. Almost 7 p.m. I got an alert, Miss Pinus. All right, thanks for hanging out, Thelma. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks for the lurk. So now I keep it with good light and proper watering schedule and dousing it with water, and it's done really well. And now I have to try and do this with one hand. I gotta get these snake plants out of the sink. This moonshine one I bought to keep in the kitchen because I wanted a kitchen plant. The kitchen does not get a lot of light because it's a north-facing window. So that's why I went with this snake plant. And we're gonna see how it does. It's kind of experimental. And then this one, let's keep it in this bowl. Put that over here. Shrimpy, you missed the snake plants. They're done. I watered them. Oh. Whale fins. I dumped water over here somehow. There's a flood happening. Well, there's still one. Where? I like the backsplash tile. I do now since I painted it. Those little tiles are originally blue, and I hate blue. I hate blue so much. This kitchen was blue walls. Obviously the countertop is still blue, and those little tiles are blue. I've been painting them black with this paint touch up for tiles, and now I like it. And the sky is still blue. No, it's kind of gray now. It's stormy. That's why I'm holding this little dog, because she's scared of the weather. But yeah, I like the backslash now that I've painted it black. Orchid. I was watering an orchid. So when I water orchids, I fertilize them every time because that's what the orchid experts tell me to do. I have like this orchid food, liquid orchid food that I just squirt in my watering can and then water them with. And I think my watering can's outside. Hold, please. My garden's getting rained on. It's wonderful. I love it when I don't have to water things and then nature does it for me. Can I set you down now? You're pretty chill. Are you gonna be okay if I put you down? You be okay? Yeah? So just a little squirt and fill it with water, and then water my plant. And I just try to make sure I get everything wet.
One, two, three, and 4.
Orchids really don't want to sit in water. I hate this song. I'm pretty sure this was... yeah. It's just a random song on this playlist that doesn't make any sense. Yes, dear, come here. I also don't want to sit in water. They're really susceptible to root rot if they are sitting in water. They just want to be showered upon. They don't want to be in a bath. They just want a good, like, just wettening. And that's it. And I guess I have to do this one-handed. Please don't drop it. Okay, my next orchid. How many plants in total do you have? I don't know. A lot. I can't count them. It's too many. I did count 7 in my office at work. I can tell you I have a lot more here at my home. I have 4 of the moth orchids. This is my second orchid that I ever had. This I got from a coworker who, after I had done flowered, didn't want it anymore. This was in 2019. And they just didn't want it anymore because it didn't have flowers on it anymore. Spoilers, it flowers every year if you keep the plant alive. And it has all these beautiful flowers on it every year now. And I got it for free because I just didn't want it anymore. And I'm gonna put my finger in it though. We're gonna see if it's wet. And I could do it with water. Yeah, I love orchids. They're so cool to me. Sure, they're boring in the parts of the year where they don't have flowers, but if you're patient enough, they will flower again. And have more and more flowers every year if you, take good care of them. My parents keep orchids too, and they have a lot more blooms on theirs than mine. I think because they have a lot bigger windows. And I'm jealous. But, I mean, mine are still, they're doing okay. My third moth orchid, is this yellow one here. Nerd decided it was a good idea to get me an orchid as a gift because I like orchids so much. And he got me this one. And it's just a, basic yellow one. He's a plain guy. He likes plain things, and he got me a plain yellow one. Of which I complained, there's so many pretty ones with patterns at the store, and you pick this one. Thank you, but, there's cooler ones. It is starting a new flower spike right in the middle of its stem, if you can see that. So that's cool. And I think it is starting more at the end here. So this one's not done flowering for the season. It's gonna start, I think that's the benefit of fertilizing them, is they'll have an initial bloom, but I think they continue blooming with the right conditions. Let's put our finger in here. And the reason why you don't want to water on a schedule is because a plant will take in as much water as they're getting light. If a plant is getting less light, it's going to take water in slower. If it's getting a lot of light, it's going to take water in faster. So if you're trying to water on a schedule, and the light conditions are always going to change unless you have it under a grow light. Some days are sunny, some days are not sunny, like right now. There's not a whole lot of light right now. So watering on a schedule doesn't really make sense when they're taking in water at rates that may be slower or faster sometimes than others. That's why I stick my finger in here and see, does it need water right now? Yeah, it could do with some water. It won't hurt it if I watered it right now. I also will take this out and look at the root system. Does it look like it's a little shriveled up, or do they look nice and plump? They do look nice and plump. I'm actually gonna skip watering it, I think. We'll skip it, and I think it'll be okay. Sometimes it's just better to skip watering if you're not sure. I need watering. It looks like all roots. Yeah, it's fine. It does that. orchids don't really need a ton of soil. The soil medium for orchids, it just needs to hang on to some water. It doesn't want to hang on to a lot of water, so it doesn't really need a lot. It's almost like an air plant. This is my 4th moth orchid. This one was another gift from Nerd because he knows I like orchids so much. Why doesn't he just get me more orchids? And I'm like, Nerd, thank you. It's beautiful. You gotta stop giving me orchids. I have enough. Thank you. I only have so much window space and so much time to water them all. It's pretty. It's got speckles, so he learned from last time to get something a little more interesting to look at. It has very tiny flowers compared to the other ones. But it's cute. I like it. It is growing a baby, which I've never seen before on an orchid. It's growing a new orchid plant off of the base. I would show you if I had 2 hands. I could try. You see its baby there? It's growing another plant. We'll see how that turns out. I'm very curious how that's going to turn out. I will water this one. I need more water. I need 2 hands. But that's not gonna happen, I think. Can I put you down? I love you, I'm putting you down. Oh, you're heavy, you're 5 pounds heavy. Who's that? Hello, first time chatter. Okay. We'll see how that goes. You like plants? What's your favorite plant? Who's that? Oh, hi, baby. I don't know, what are your life goals? My life goals is to be happy. All right, we're on to our last type of plant. It's still orchids, but now we're into the fancy orchids. I'm from America. So, my collection has been, I've narrowed it into orchids because of Nerd's allergies. I don't want plants around that can have a lot of soil in them because they can get moldy, I guess, is what the allergy doctor said. It's not good for him. So I've been leaning more towards the orchids that don't need as much dirt. And I've really fallen in love with the variety of orchids called Paphiopedilums. And the main characteristic of Paphiopedilums are they stay small, which is great for real estate. I don't have a ton. get. Thanks for the follow. Where's my dog at? Is she crying again? Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Come here. Are you scared? Come here. Yes, but I'm not going to talk about personal things. I'm just going to talk about plants. The characteristics of... Thanks for the raid, nerd! I need you to keep an eye on the chat, please. They also have these cool colored leaves, all these different patterns. There's there's a variety of so many different ones.
Wow, there's a lot less plants in here now.
So I'm very uncomfortable with people that I don't know in my chat. I generally like to stream for people that I know, so I'm very wary of people I don't know. Just a heads up, I don't like to just chat with strangers. So just a heads up with that. That's what this channel is about.
Don't be weird. Even if we do know you, well, then you can definitely be weird. I know you're scared of the rain.
Especially new people coming in and like asking me personal things, I don't appreciate.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's been whining a lot, and I've been holding her, and she's been scared. It is raining. I'm just gonna be here talking about plants. Okay. So, I am watering them. This was my first Paphiopedilum, and it started out as one plant and has since multiplied several times over. Oh, hi. I'm reading your DMs now. But yeah, I do need mod help. Anyway, let me show you what this plant looks like when it is actually flowering. Where is it? Here it is. This is what it looked like when I first got it. Just one single plant with a new plant starting. Every year it will make a flower, and it will start a new plant. The plants only flower once. So to make a new flower, it makes a whole new plant. And then the original plants just stay there, green and nice and pretty. And the flower looks like this, which is actually one of my sub badges. I make my orchids, my flowers into sub badges. So that's one of them. This is a Paphiopedilum hainensis. And I just love its mottled leaves, because while it's not flowering, at least the leaves are still interesting to look at. That's why I love this variety of orchids so much. They stay small, and they're really pretty and really interesting. And there's so many different ones that you can collect. So I don't plan on stopping collecting these. every spring there's a local orchid show where people from all over gather to sell the different orchids that they breed. They have some that are native to different regions all over the world. And yeah, and shrimpy too. And some of them that they crossbreed to make new varieties, like this one. This is one of my latest acquisitions, and the flower is the most impressive to date that I have. It's huge compared to my other ones, and I just love this big fan up top. It's really cool. And it is called a Paphiopedilum barbatum Satchel's Legend, which is a crossbreed that someone developed. And the leaves are a nice light green color with this cool pattern. And it is starting its new plant here. So once this flower dies, this original plant will not flower again. Its new flower will come from this new plant. My bad, I wasn't sure what your lines are. I feel weird about the guy though. I was feeling weird about the guy though. So, here's what it comes down to. Like I said before, I don't stream for randoms. I stream for you guys that I consider my friends. If there's strangers coming in trying to chat me up like that and you get weird vibes from it, just ban them. I'm not concerned about scaring people off or growing a community of people I don't know. You're not all randoms. You guys are my friends. I would much rather keep the stream comfortable with people I know than weird and uncomfortable with people I don't know. I don't care if you ban them. I don't know them, just ban them. Literally met doubles as a rando, but that's different. It's different! Okay. This one is a Paphiopedilum Gisela Utz. It's a really dark leaf color, and I'll show you what its flower looks like. It flowered for the first time for me last year. Random, but not quite as weird. Don't be weird. Yeah, it won't hurt my feelings if you ban weird randos. Do I not have a better picture than that? So this is the flower of this one. And it's really cool. I like all its speckles. Core? What the heck? Why am I hearing myself twice? Oh, I had your stream up on my phone. That's weird. Hi, Raiders! It's me, Noonvale 12. I give people a chance in my stream, so I did give them a chance. It was a small, short chance. Boom, gone. I don't care. Get out of here, weirdos. Except you Raiders. Welcome in, Raiders. You went late. What's wrong? Why'd you go so late? Are you going to bed now? Well, thanks for the raid. Look at my, look! Look at my cool flower. You love it? Isn't it exciting? No, I stay up late. Go to bed. Thanks. I put everything else away. It's an orchid. It's a Paphiopedilum barbatum Satchel's Legend. Obviously. You didn't know that? You didn't know what this is? Orchid got it. This is a Paphiopedilum delanati, which is starting a flower. It's first ever flower for me, which is super exciting. I'm very pumped. I hope it gets real big. The leaves are really big. For Paphiopedilum, this seems really big. So I'm super hyped for that. So I have 4 of these Paphiopedilums, also known as lady slipper orchids, because I got these big cups on them. Why are you crying? Come here. Maple, come here. Why are you crying? Are you scared? You want to go out? This is a bad time. This is a bad time. Come here. Come here, you little stinker. Come here. Ugh. I think she wants to go out. I might have to end stream. I did talk about all the plants, though. Are we gonna end stream? Because you're getting antsy in your pantsies? Plants. The only thing I have left to water is the Paphiopedilums. That's not exciting. I just already talked about them, so I guess I could end stream now. Why did I think she was bigger? She's 5 pounds. Water the dog. I will spray the hose, the garden hose, towards her. She's not a fan. She's not a water dog. She weighed, at the vet, 5 pounds, 5 ounces. And she's very scared of the weather right now. 5 pounds of pure malevolence, pure love. Mwah. Love her so much. My cat is bigger than her. Very much so. Which is weird. All our cats are bigger. I think my cat is like 18 pounds or something. She's big. She's a big cat. She's not fat. She used to be really fat, like really round. She's lost a lot of weight. Yeah, Pixel is bigger than her. Thanks for the raid, but I'm gonna end stream now. And do getting ready for bed things by like 1.4 pounds. Everyone's cat is bigger than you. How do you feel about that? You feel very sleepy? You want to go out, don't you? Go out and do a pee? Your tail's wagging? Tail's wagging. Thanks, Shrimpy, for being here. Still feels like a menace. What do you mean? Explain. How? She's a darling little angel. Perfect in every way, except for she growls at our other dog. In not a menacing way, almost kind of, but yeah, I guess. Not menacing. Except for the menace part. Yeah. Boop. Shall we look for someone to pass the raid on to? Who's out there? Trying to do this left-handed. Oh gosh. Who? We've got Tony doing Borderlands. I guess we'll raid Sharptooth Tor. Sharptooth. Hang on, I gotta switch. I can't do this left-handed. Sharptooth. If you don't know Sharptooth, he's definitely a weirdo. He's definitely a weirdo. We know him IRL. We did not meet him as a rando online. Let me hide this. Met him as a rando at a mall. So me and Nerd, before the pandemic, when we had IRL lives, we would go to our local mall, the game shop at our local mall, and play Dungeons and Dragons, and with a group of nerds, and that is how we met Sharptooth. And we're gonna go raid him. He likes to do art streams and other games. Right now he's playing Borderlands with some friends, I guess. You're probably not interested in that. I wouldn't be, I'm not, but I've never raided him before. IRL lives, I know, right? Well, you have an IRL life. You have IRL friends come over and play Lord of the Rings. I don't have anyone come over, except my family. And we like it that way, don't we? Other people are scary. They say weird things in our chat. Make us feel weird and uncomfortable. Stranger danger. In 480p, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I'm not a nerd like you. Okay. I am though, just in a different way. Plants have a bunch of eyes that act like, what? What? It's video resolution, poor quality. I don't know what that means. Come down here when you can. Okay. That's my stream. Thanks for hanging out. Core, thanks for the raid. Inky, thanks for the sub. What else happened? Nerd, thanks for the raid. Weirdo, thanks for the follow that I then banned. Abtaria, thanks for the raid. I got 3 raids tonight. What the heck? Nerd made some neat stuff. Okay. Next stream is gonna be, I don't know when, maybe tomorrow I'll do pixel drawing. Maybe later in the week I'll do pixel drawing. I don't know. Nothing on Friday. I have a niece's birthday party. In 2 weeks, I plan to do a baking stream. I'm gonna make a gluten-free cake for my mom for Mother's Day. I'm gonna probably stream that on the Saturday before Mother's Day. So look forward to that. And in the meantime, have fun. Say hi, at least say hi to Sharptooth. You don't have to stick around. It's just Borderlands. Who cares about video games? Bye!